Okay, preparing Coenzyme A derivatives, we have to have dry syringes for our anhydrous reaction. Okay, how do you dry a syringe? It's very simple. What you do, first of all, don't mix up syringe plungers with the syringe barrel. They're custom made for each other, and you'll never get one to fit in another. So always keep track of your barrel, which goes with the syringe that goes with your barrel. Okay, so we just have the water aspirator here. Make sure you hold the syringe at the top here, so that when you put force here, you don't break the glass. In other words, you don't want to hold it here and put force, because you might crack the barrel. So, although they're very sturdy. Put your thumb at the top, put it in there, just kind of give it a push, and now we have a suction, which is sucking here. And you just go in and make sure it's sucking. Use your eyeballs. Suck some water through there, turn it upside down, let the water go out. Make sure you have water going in and you actually see it. Don't ever assume anything's working right. If you don't actually see the water go in, then it isn't. Prove to yourself that the water is in fact going in by seeing it. Okay, very good. Now we've cleaned it out with some water, and all we want to do now is just get most of the water out by hitting it with a little bit of suction of acetone. So it's important to just crimp it here a little bit. Crimp the tubing a little bit so that we lessen the suction, because when we lower the pressure, the acetone will evaporate and we'll be sucking up acetone vapors, and it won't clean anything. We'll be sucking up vapors instead of liquid. So I always crimp it a little bit here, and then just put it right in and make sure I see liquid acetone going up. There we go. And again, just make sure that you actually see liquid acetone going up. If you don't see it going up, it isn't going up, and therefore it isn't doing anything. Alright, so and you can adjust your crimping with your thumb here. Alright, good. So we've got acetone going up, washing out the remaining water, and now we can leave it upside down for a little bit, just like this, let it drain a little bit, and you can actually see the opacity here of the inside of the barrel as it's drying. So you leave it here for a minute or two. You can close everything back up, and then of course you can get a Kim wipe. Where's our barrel? Yep, our barrel fell off. Okay. So again, use a Kim wipe. Usually just wiping with a Kim wipe is good enough. Although if you need to, you can hit it with soap and water and acetone if you need to. But again, Kim wipe, get it nice and dry. And again, don't bend it by mistake. Okay, this is probably good. You can push it right off. And we go right in. And again, don't assume that it's dry. Look, and if you look close enough, you'll see the opacity, and you won't see any liquid in here. And there you are. Dry as a bone. Hamilton syringes for doing anhydrous work for making the co-derivatives. Okay. Hello everybody out in co-derivative land. Anyway, again, small reactive vials, any kind of vial you want to clean and dry quickly. Very simple. If you know that, again, it doesn't have gunk, and you know that it's been a clean reaction, all you really need to do is take it out of the drawer, and we give it a squirt with some water, a little squirt with some water. Very nice. The eye water. Then you hit it with a tad of acetone. Again, a tad of acetone to get most of the water away. Very good. And then we take your average everyday hair dryer, and very important when you use a hair dryer to do something, you don't just do this, because you'll get nowhere. Right? Just like your house, if you have only one window open, nothing will happen. You have to have two windows open. Right? So same thing with here. You need the air going in, and you need a place for the air to escape. So you do it like this. Can you zoom in? See that? Not like this. Not like that. That's doing nothing. Gotta do this. Gotta have a place for the air to escape, or else you're gonna sit here all day and do nothing. Now we have a hot and a cold. If your fingers start getting too hot, there's a hot and cold switch on here. Okay, very good. And to be honest, with a little bit of heat, a little bit of cold, that's it. It's done. It's ready to go. There. One other thing, just to always be sure of. Anytime you're taking reagents out of the refrigerator, out of the freezer especially, never open the containers until they've come to room temperature. For example, this is the fatty acid that we'll be attaching on the Coenzyme A today. And this was contained in another bottle, which had dryerite in it, and dryerite is basically an anhydrous crystalline material. I think it's calcium sulfate, or I think it is. Anyway, the key point is that things need to be kept dry, okay? And when you take something out of the refrigerator or out of the freezer and it's cold, you'll see, especially in Missouri here where it's very humid, you'll get condensation all over the place. So we don't want that to happen when we open, or if we were to open this while it was cold, like this, and open it, and then condensation is now condensing on our dry material in here. So absolutely be sure you take every single thing out from the freezer, let it come to room temperature first before you do absolutely anything with it. Okay. What we're doing here now is we have 5 test tubes right here for testing the disappearance of the sulfhydryl group on coenzyme A as our reaction is proceeding. So we have 5 test tubes that we're just going to fill very simply with half an ml, each one with half an ml of a 0.1 molar potassium phosphate, that's KPI, 0.1 molar KPI, and the pH has to be 8. So it's a 0.1 molar KPI, pH 8.0. You'll typically just see an Erlenmeyer flask of this sitting in the fridge. So again, half an ml. We take half an ml and we put it into each one. And again, when I do this, I typically, every time I add something, I now move it. Now that doesn't really matter so much when what you're adding is a large volume. But if you're adding a tiny volume, like 10 microliters of something that has virtually no color, then how do you know that you've actually added it, right? It becomes very difficult to determine. So you'll see here after I add the 5 tubes, now I'll add the reagent. This is just the buffer for the reaction. Okay, this is, again, just the buffer. And this can be done, quickly. This is just a spot test, okay? We're not quantifying anything here with spectrophotometers or anything. This is just a visual spot test. So we have our 5 tubes, sitting here with buffer in them. And then we take our Elman's reagent, which is this tube right here. It's a 10 millimolar Elman's reagent in 0.1 molar potassium phosphate, pH 7. Again, this just sits here. It's stable forever, nothing to worry about. So again, we have another, now this doesn't have to be dry, okay, because everything here is aqueous. So we're just going to take, say, 10 microliters out of here and put it into each one. And again, there's nothing to stir, nothing to mix. It really is, it's already a deep yellow color. But again, when you add this, again, proper technique with Hamilton syringe, up, down, 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 to be absolutely sure that there's no air bubbles. And you must look and see, are there air bubbles? Because if you haven't looked and seen whether there's air bubbles, you have no idea whether there are any. Okay, so again, the key point here is always never assume your instrument is working right. Always check and be sure you have up, down, filling the barrel and all the space between the barrel and the syringe with your liquid. Okay, so again, 10 microliters, take it up. We're going to put it right in, and then I move it. Now again, I move it. Why? Because there's no way I can see by eye that I've added that. So I move it, and that tells me, I move it to the next row. That immediately tells me that I've added it. Okay, next one, get it in there. Again, this can be done real simple, real quick. You don't have to go nuts with it because it's all qualitative. But again, 10 microliters in each one. If it was 11 microliters, it would still work because it's in excess. The reagent is in excess. So again, the important thing though here is to not forget that to have added Elman's to a particular tube, because then you'll get a false negative, you see. If you forgot to add Elman's to a particular tube, the Elman's reagent to a particular tube, then you would see no color, even if there was coenzyme A there. And that's exactly what you don't want to see. All right, so that's it. That's for setting up your standard curve, your spot test to determine SH. So Elman's reagent is used for actually, it can be quantitatively done as well, not just qualitatively. It's for determining the presence of free sulfide groups. Okay, so that's our spot test ready to go. This is how you use the balance. Okay, first thing you notice, balances typically have brushes near them, and the reason is to clean away schmutz. Okay, so there you go, nice and clean schmutz. Okay, especially the reason is because if you're weighing a few milligrams of something, 1 milligram of something else contaminating it is significant. So definitely want to make sure our area is clean here. All right, so the other very important thing is that all balances need to be balanced. Well, every balance has a bubble level, and you must find it and look for it. And you must see that the bubble is within the circle, or the bubble level is correct, so that, because the balance will really only be accurate if it's in fact perfectly level. So don't ever assume your balance is leveled. Don't ever assume it's actually working right. The way you fix that is by adjusting the feet here, and that will get your bubble into the correct space. All right, most balances have some kind of auto calibration for themselves now. To be honest, I'm not going to bother with it for this right now. But so let's talk about just how do you weigh out small volumes of stuff. For example, we have to weigh out, for this fatty acid, we have to weigh out, what is it, 17 milligrams or so?
17.42.
17.42 milligrams. Okay, so we have weighing paper. What you do is you take a quarter of a typical weighing paper size. That's it. Okay? You always pick the correct container that's appropriate for the volume or the amount of material you're actually dealing with. You don't pick a gallon container to weigh out a few milligrams. Again, because just by static electricity, the few milligrams will stick to the entire gallon container. And you don't want that. So again, we have the little weighing paper here. Now we take it, we fold it into quarters. So you fold the weighing paper into quarters here. That gives the a little depression in the center here, where all your material will go, and then you can very easily crimp it like this, and then tap it out into your vessel. Okay, so again, here's nothing more than this when you're weighing a couple of milligrams, even up to 100 milligrams or so of something. So on there, and we of course tear it, and wait for everything to tear properly. Always make sure when you're tearing and when you're weighing that the side doors are closed because of drafts. Okay. Very good. That's saying zeros across the board. So again, milligrams is what? 17 milligrams would be 0.017. So I need to weigh out 17 milligrams of the fatty acid here. Again, it's not going to be a lot. It's going to be, again, all depending on how fluffy it is, but the key point here is, get an eyeball, get it close. Now for very precious material, like some of these fatty acids that we have, we don't have a lot of. So if you weighed over, I would put it back because they're precious. But general rule of thumb is what? Is to never put back. If you're over, now again, that's for stuff that you have a ton of and it's not expensive. But for rare or very fine chemicals, stuff that you had to synthesize yourself, I wouldn't be wasting it. Okay, so I work my way up there slowly. That's about 12 milligrams now. And so we get back to there. Let's see. All right, it's about 2 milligrams. What is it? 17 point what?
4.2.
0.4. All right, I'm a tad off. I'm about a milligram high, so I can try to get like something close to a milligram off of there and get it back. And then, of course, close the door. And you must let it settle. I mean, again, like the wind, everything has to be down. There we go. So that we're bingo. We're right on the money. Okay, great. Thank you. That's it. Now, very important. Again, because you might have some air in the room blowing around from the air vents or whatever, you're going to carry your material, again, I would not, I would cover it. Especially, or if you sneeze or anybody walks past you, makes a breeze, all of this could go flying all over the place. And that's the last thing you want. So definitely make your little adjustment here and just cover it and carry it to where you need very gently. Okay.